Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Momma Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. For the last couple of years, we've been doing Disney homeschool themed videos around Disney movies, characters, or rides. This year, I decided to change things up and we're still doing Disney themed homeschooling, but we're going to be centering our lessons around the Epcot World Showcase. I thought this would be a great theme to base our lessons on because it gives us so much opportunity for different branches of learning. Obviously, we're learning about geography. We're going to learn about each of the different countries' languages and traditions and culture, how people live there as opposed to how we live. So we've got social studies thrown in the mix as well. I'm of course throwing in a lot of life skills. So cooking has always been an important part of our homeschool series, and we're going to aim to create an authentic recipe every single time that has to do with the country or traditions that we're studying. And of course, from a sensory perspective, I love including art projects in our theming, so every video is going to include at least 1 or 2 different art projects. Something else to consider is that my child is on the autism spectrum. He has nonverbal autism, and so we're going to be tailoring the activities obviously to his level because he is the child that I am teaching. You can of course feel free to tailor these activities to whatever developmental or educational level makes sense for the kiddos that you're teaching. I'm going to do my best to include resources and activities in a Pinterest board that pertains to each and every theme. So all of these videos are going to have a Pinterest board linked in the description box so you could check it out. This will give you some ideas for activities that we didn't get to cover in the video, or even ideas for taking the activities we did do and tweaking them to fit kiddos of different ages or different abilities. One big consideration that I wanted to make before jumping into this particular string of themed videos is that I wanted to make sure to approach this from a place of cultural appreciation and not appropriation. I want to be able to respect the people and the traditions of these countries without resorting to tropes. That being said, we're going to try to be as authentic as possible in all of our facts, in all of our art activities, especially in all of our recipes. I'm going to try my best to outsource this information from people native to the countries that we're studying wherever I'm able. So now that I've explained a little bit about what we're trying to do here, let's jump into the country for this month. The country we're studying this month is Morocco. Morocco is a country in northern Africa, and it's actually the only permanent African pavilion in the Epcot World Showcase. There are a lot of widely celebrated festivals in Morocco. Mostly they are Islamic, and the focus is typically on food, family, and community. The celebrations are based on the lunar calendar, which means they tend to be a different date every year. And while there's way too many festivals and holidays to name them all here, some of the main ones are Yenayer, which is the New Year celebration. There's an Almond Blossom Festival. Of course, they celebrate Ramadan. And Milad un Nabi, which is a nationally recognized public holiday held in celebration of the birth of the Prophet Muhammad. There's no shortage of incredible culture, food, and art in Morocco, and I'm looking forward to delving into all of it with you in this video. We've come to one of my favorite pavilions in all of Epcot. This restaurant actually is one of the more popular ones in the entire park, and I very much recommend you eat here if you have the chance. It's supposed to be incredible. I actually haven't been able to eat there myself because my family's not very adventurous when it comes to eating, but we are in Morocco, obviously, and this is one of my favorite pavilions to walk around in. The atmosphere is incredible. The art, the architecture, especially the tile work, it just needs to be seen with your own eyes because this video is pretty good, but it just does not do it justice. And the video, of course, is from 4KWDW, which is my favorite channel for all of these park tours. I'm going to have it linked down below in the description box. I also wanted to recommend a video that I put out a year or 2 ago at this point when we were doing our Disney homeschooling based on movies. We did an Aladdin themed video, and I know that Aladdin does not take place in Morocco per se. It takes place in the fictional land of Agrabah, but We made a pistachio rosewater cake in that video that is to die for. So I recommend you check that out when you get a chance as well. I'm also going to have that linked down below in the description box. So it's come to the time where we do our activity, whether it's sensory or art. I have a feeling this one's going to be a little bit of both. Obviously, this is not a traditional Moroccan mosaic kit, but I felt like this was a fun way to introduce the concept of mosaics and tile work. As you saw when we toured the pavilion in Epcot, there's so many amazing examples of Moroccan tile work at the pavilion and obviously in Morocco itself. So I thought that this was an obvious choice for an art activity this month. So I haven't opened this yet. I'm going to have it linked down below, but let's go ahead and see together what it brings. So we've got our little wooden coasters here. This appears to be the actual materials. It looks like glue and maybe sand. I'll have to look in the instructions. And here are our tiles. There's also some fun little fruit-shaped ones, which is really cute. Okay, I don't see instructions in here, so, oh, they're on the back of the box. So we have to remove the stopper from the glue bottles and put the glue on the coasters. Then actually apply our tiles. Leave gaps to fill in with caulk. Oh, so that's what this is. Okay, wear gloves. Fill in the gaps with the crystal caulk. Press hard to get in between the gaps, and then there's sponges so that we can use one for each craft. Wipe off the excess caulk with the sponge after letting it sit for 10 minutes and let it dry, and then we can peel off the plastic cover of the acrylic badge. So does each one have an acrylic? Oh, I see. Yeah, it looks like it brings 3 little sets of crystals, so one for each of the coasters, and each one has a little badge to kind of be the centerpiece. So this one, as you can see, has a little unicorn. The more traditional looking mosaic has a heart shape. And then the fruit ones actually has a giant, like, multicolored piece of citrus. So those are meant to be the center of our coasters, and then the little bits go around the edges. These fruit ones are so adorable. I hope that my son wants to do this one. I'll let him pick, but this one's really cute. Okay, so it looks easy enough. I don't know how he's gonna feel about wearing the gloves, so I might do that bit, but he's definitely a big fan of gluing things, so I think this is gonna be fun. Check it out, pal, look. We've got these bottles of glue. The nice thing about this is that each of the sets is completely contained. See, each one brings its own set of grout, its own little glue, its own sponge, etc. So we can easily do this across different sessions. Oh, the sponge is the one thing that it's just the one big sponge, but I'm sure this is easy to cut in bits. In any case, it just feels like a regular, it almost feels like a magic eraser, honestly. But this would also make it real easy to do it with multiple kiddos at once also, because everybody gets their own materials, everything's pre-measured. There's no concern about maybe not having enough left over for one of the kids because the first kid went a little crazy with the ingredients, etc. All right, Papa, look. Do you want to do, oh, the heart's pretty. It's like a rainbow. Do you want to do the heart, the fruit, or the unicorn? Which one? Unicorn. Okay, that's a good choice. We'll put the other ones away. Do you want to do square, circle, or heart? I know we're gonna do the unicorn, but do you want to do what shape? Circle shape? This is the one? Okay, so we'll put these 2 away. Hopefully they don't intend for you to do any one specific set with a one specific shape, because we're kind of on our own here with this. So look what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get this glue. Do you want to squeeze it? The bottle's got a little stopper in it, so let's remove that. So I put lots of glue. Glue, glue, glue everywhere. Okay. Looks good to me. You're gonna put your unicorn, nope, other way, like this. Perfect. Okay, now look, you get all of these little ones and you put them however you like. See, like that. Go ahead. Just put them wherever you want, babe. That's pretty. Go ahead, keep going. You got all these little rocks. You can put all of them. Nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice. Okay, that seems like enough, right? Yeah, that seems like enough. So I think we're gonna be finished with that part. So we'll wait 10 minutes for it to dry and then mommy will come back and do the grout part. But that's super cute. All right, it said let sit for 10 minutes. It didn't say that I needed to dry it completely. It's actually been about 12 or 13 minutes and it's still very tacky, almost syrupy, but hopefully that's fine. It does bring 4 gloves, which is fine because it's like 1 for each project and then an extra one in case one rips. So I'm gonna put on a glove. It says fill in gaps with crystal caulk. Press hard to get in between gaps. So here is our caulk, and it is in fact, it almost has a kinetic sand feel to it. Like it's not, I expected it to be more wet, but it's almost like a paste. So we're getting in there in all of the gaps, trying to get to every edge. Let me see, there's more in here, so let's make sure we use all of it. I'm sure it's pre-portioned for a reason. There's a bit of a shimmer to it, which is nice. I'm trying to really get in between all the gaps of all of the little tiles while also not moving the tiles from where my son put them, because I don't want to change his art. I want to make sure it's exactly how he wanted it. Okay, so that feels good and caked on there. Cut the sponge into 3 pieces. I've already done that. Now it says let sit for 10 minutes and wipe off excess caulk with sponge. So again, we don't want it to dry yet. That's not the aim. We're not letting it sit until it's dry. We're just gonna let it sit so that it kind of has a chance to sink in, I guess. And then at that point, we will use our sponge to get rid of the extra. Then we're gonna let it dry completely. And apparently the little unicorn friend has a plastic covering on it. So once it's completely dry, we can remove that plastic bit that's presumably protecting it from all this stuff, and our coaster will be ready. All right, once again, it's been about, I'd say 12 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and take off the excess grout here. Don't know if I'm taking off too much. Nothing really seems fixed yet. Everything is still very much wet. So things are moving around as I do that. And actually right here, I took off too much, it feels like, because I left a gap. So this is definitely not foolproof. Or maybe I'm just too big a fool. Definitely possible. I'm not gonna discount that possibility. But I've gotten everything off of the wooden frame for the most part. Trying to get rid of what might be covering the crystals so that they could be nice and shiny. I'm sure they told me to wear gloves for a reason. I took mine off and I'm just here touching the grout with my bare hands. But that seems to be that. So I'm gonna let this dry for, well, I don't know. I suppose I'll come back to it tomorrow maybe. And at that point, I imagine it should be completely dry and we can take the plastic covering off of our centerpiece there. Alright friends, typically I like to show you examples of a few videos that I found, documentary type videos, fact videos about the country that we're studying. But in the case of Morocco, I found so many videos that it just made more sense to show you my playlist here. So of course, as always, I'm leading with the World Showcase Tour, the 4K WDW video that I featured at some point in this video. But then we've also got a few videos that are specifically made for children for facts. We've got a guide to Morocco here, travel with your taste buds. So there's a couple videos on Moroccan food specifically for kids. Not that the food is for kids, but rather told from a kid's perspective. We've got Casablanca with kids, so it's actually a family that travels, and this is their point of view, I guess, their vacation with kids in Morocco. And then for some older kiddos, we have culture shocks of Morocco, things you need to know before you visit. So as you can see, I've compiled all of these videos into a playlist, and I'm going to have the playlist linked down below in the description box so that you could watch any or all of these videos at your leisure. Alright friends, so for our Moroccan recipe, I wanted to make something called tagine. I'll show you what it looks like here. But this is made in an earthenware pot. It's also served in the same pot. There's a whole process to it. I'm going to include some information in the description box in case you want to learn more about it. But I do not have my own tagine, and I still wanted to bring those flavors into our home. So I found a recipe for tagine in a pan. So it's basically going to be a sheet pan meal with Moroccan-inspired flavors. So to start, we're going to need 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil plus more for drizzling. We want 2 teaspoons of salt, divided. We're not going to use the 2 teaspoons at once. A teaspoon of tomato paste. All of my tomato paste is frozen, and for this application we need it fresh, I guess, or at least not frozen. We need it thawed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an equivalent amount of tomato sauce, and I'll probably end up freezing the rest of the can for later use. So again, that was 1 teaspoon of that. 3/4 teaspoon of ground turmeric. Now, here's the funny thing about that. I don't typically keep like a jar of turmeric around because I don't really love the flavor, but I appreciate that it is a fantastic thing to consume. It's anti-inflammatory. It's just great. So every day I take turmeric supplement, and that's all it is. It's literally just turmeric in little capsules. So since I need 3/4 teaspoon of this, I'm just going to open up some capsules until I get the equivalent. So yeah. We need 3/4 teaspoon of sweet paprika, 3/4 teaspoon of finely ground black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, a large pinch of freshly grated nutmeg. I tried to find just the nutmeg, so I could grate it here myself, and none of the local markets have it, so I ended up having to get ready ground stuff. Hopefully it'll do. We need 3 pounds of bone-in, skin-on chicken pieces. You can use anything you like, legs, thighs, breasts, a combination. So I've got some chicken drumsticks and some chicken thighs. I have more than 3 pounds. Hopefully that's fine. A 1/2 pound of carrots, and we're gonna have them lengthwise. It says that if they're thick, you can quarter them as well. You also want 1/2 pound of sweet potatoes, and it says to cut lengthwise into 3/4 inch thick wedges. Mine's pre-cut, so I'm gonna just leave it as is. I might make the pieces a little smaller, but it is asking me to leave the carrots pretty big, so maybe this will be fine just this way. A lemon quartered, and you do need the lemon itself, not just the juice. A 1/2 cup or about 3 ounces of pitted dates, and we're gonna slice these up. It says a cup of mixed olives with or without the pits. I got about a 1/2 cup here. I'm very big into olives. I wish I'd realized I needed more because I would have definitely bought more. But this is a nice mix, so this is what I'm going to use. And then lastly, you want some fresh herbs to serve. You can use cilantro, mint, parsley, or a combination. I have some cilantro here that I have left over from another recipe, so that's what I'm going to use. I've got my oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And now in a large bowl, I'm going to stir together 2 tablespoons of the oil. I'm going to put in 1.5 teaspoons of the salt, my tomato sauce or paste, turmeric, paprika, pepper, ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg. I'm going to add my chicken pieces to the bowl and rub the paste all over them, including under the skin. So you want everything to really absorb into the chicken. Once that's done, I'm gonna arrange my chicken on a rimmed sheet pan. In the same bowl, you don't even need to wash it first. Go ahead and toss together your carrots, sweet potatoes, the remaining tablespoon of oil, and the remaining half teaspoon of salt. We're gonna arrange the veggies on our sheet pan with the chicken. Then we're gonna quarter the lemon and add that to the pan as well. This is gonna go into our preheated oven for about 20 minutes. We're gonna remove our sheet pan from the oven and then scatter our sliced dates and our olives in an even layer around the chicken and among the vegetables. Drizzle it with a little more oil, then return it to the oven and roast until the chicken is cooked through. If you're using white meat, you're probably just gonna need about another 10 to 15 minutes, but since I'm using dark meat, I'm gonna do another 15 to 20 minutes. While this has been cooking, I've gone ahead and steamed some white rice to serve it with. You could also warm up some flatbread. If you're not worried about gluten-free, you can serve it with couscous. Even a hunk of bread would be good with this. All right, friends, that's gonna do it for our Morocco unit study. We had such a blast with this one. This might have been my favorite one so far. The recipe felt really easy to make, but it created such an impressive and flavorful meal. I'm very much going to be making that like all the time from now on. And I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the carrots in it. Carrots, for some reason, it seems like such a simple vegetable, but it's one of those things that like, I just really can't wrap my mind around. Like, I will eat Brussels sprouts and kale all day long, but a cooked carrot, we just don't vibe. In this application, it was really, really tasty. And the whole meal is actually really balanced. You get the sweet from the dates, the briny olives, the sweet potatoes, and it's just everything was really, really good. So I will be making this again for sure. And the art activity, we had so much fun with it. I'm glad that the kit comes with multiples because we're definitely gonna make the other two and kind of have a little set. My son is so proud of his coaster and I've been using it every night when I have my tea before bed, and he just really likes seeing the stuff he made in use. I think it came out super pretty. It was very easy for us to make together. And again, very impressive. Like it's a big payoff considering how not a lot of work it was. And I've always personally been a big fan of mosaics, so I'm completely on board with just having a bunch of these all over the house. Now remember, as always, anything I mentioned in the video, whether it's materials we used, videos we watched, books we read, etc., if I am able to find a link for it, it's going to be linked down below in the description box so that you can easily access it yourself. There's only 3 countries left in the World Showcase. We're going to be studying France next, then the UK, and finally Canada before we wrap up this year's curriculum. Is there any country in particular that you're looking forward to? What's been your favorite one so far? Let me know in the comments before you go. And as always, I want to thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. See you real soon.